Hey friends!
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 51 of the Brunch and Judge.
So close to the year mark.
We've almost done it. We're gonna make it. What?
I
What?
know, it's crazy.
We are your hosts. I'm Aprile.
And I'm Claire.
And this week we are bringing you some true crime, paranormal, and other weird stories of museums.
Yes, I
Mhm.
love museums.
Me
Museums are
too.
so
I
much
miss
fun.
museums because I live in the middle of nowhere where the only museums are like local,
Yes.
like not to like be hateful because I don't mean that, but like you know what I mean.
Yes. Although
It's
the Mary Hill one
but yeah,
was,
but that one's a little bit
that was,
far. I can't
yeah,
go there
but
very
that was
often.
still like
No, that's a real one.
surprisingly good.
A
I
real
was
museum
like, for in the middle of
of
nowhere.
absolutely nowhere. Yeah, Lord. But like there's always weird little like city museums that are open like one day a week and they have like four
Right.
things on display and they're like, look at these pioneer shoes and these Native American artifacts that we stole and
Poor
should have
piece of
given back
shit.
already. It's bad.
Right.
But anyway, before we dive into our museums this week, Claire, what are you judging?
I'm judging weight loss culture after the new year.
Oh, God, yes.
It's bullshit.
Yes, yes, it is. I have been inundated with every weight loss thing that I've ever
Ugh,
accidentally looked at. By the way, they keep your
same.
email, and they're like, "Oh, you unsubscribed before, but like just in case it's a new year, new you, let's just throw these back
Right.
in."
Exactly. No, it is. It's bullshit. It's just a money making scheme to get you to spend your money and these
Oh
people don't
yes.
know. These people who send you this crap, they don't know. They don't know you. They don't know your genetics. Because they'll be like, oh, you can beat genetics. No, sometimes you know what? You fucking can't.
Mm-mm.
Not without drugs. Like I just it makes me so angry. Anyway, as a fluffy person who has struggled,
Mm-hmm.
lived this struggle my entire life, okay? My entire life. It makes me mad. Like just in the last few years, I'm starting to be like, yeah, this whole thing, it's bullshit.
It
Bullshit.
is. It is bullshit. You're not
Like
wrong.
if you want to do it, then do it. If you don't want to do it, don't make yourself feel bad for not doing it. Do what makes you happy and, be healthy. Don't and being healthy doesn't mean, you know, working out 85 hours a week, you know,
Mm-mm.
unless you want to, unless
Mm-mm.
that's your thing.
Mm-mm. It's not my
But
thing.
no, it's stupid. It's really they just take advantage of people like after the new year because everybody is all like new year, new me, blah blah blah. I get it. Okay, but in the same vein, it's just like it's just another day.
I mean,
Why is this day different than the day before?
uh,
Why,
I'm
that's
I'm pro New Year's resolutions because I think it's fun to be at the beginning of something and to like look forward to the year. But I'm
yes.
anti resolutions that make you feel bad if you don't accomplish them.
Right. Yes.
Instead I mean, I did it to myself, but like instead of saying, I'll read 52 books this year, because I did not last year, maybe for
Yes.
the first time in a long time, actually, but I did not. Um, and I made that my goal again, but in my head, it's more like, let's see how close to that I can get.
Right. See, I'm on my Goodreads. I did that. I was like, let's
Hmm.
do 52. Let's.
But I mean, like, I prefer
And if I
goals
don't,
of things like I'm gonna try to find like if you're thinking health and weight loss type
right.
goals, I prefer goals that are more like I'm gonna see if I can find a new hobby that is a bit more active that I enjoy.
Right.
And if I can't find it, well, okay.
Yeah. But it's like, don't kill yourself
But, like, I hate
to
the
fit in this bullshit standard that
mhm.
and
Well, I
I'm glad things have, like, started changing because I
yes.
know when we were younger, it was absolutely
Oh,
a incredibly insane, unattainable bullshit standard. Like, what you saw in
mhm.
the media and magazines, there was no social media when we were younger, but it
Thank God
was
for small favors.
yeah, right, I know. But, I mean, you had what, like, Kate Moss? It was like, come on.
Ugh. All the eating disorders just on
Right,
display. Well, I mean, I think about college and how, almost everyone I was friends with for a period of time, like, it seemed like 80% of my friends that were female had some version of an eating disorder, and I'm like,
right.
"Okay, I don't have that, thankfully."
Yeah.
But, like, the thing that I always hated the things like, and I hope they don't still do this, where, like, for encouragement, they're like, "Buy the dress in the size that you wanna be and hang it up so you attain." And I'm like,
Right,
"Why are you torturing yourself? Like,
right,
instead of that, go buy a dress that fits you now that you makes you feel awesome." Like, maybe it's gonna
right,
take a while because, like, I try on clothes and I'm like, "I look hot," and then I try on other clothes, I'm like, "Oh my god. Oh my god.
right.
What was I thinking?"
Yes.
It's holding on to the areas it shouldn't hold on to, man. Ugh.
Well, and that's like I'm working one of the gals I work with at my part-time job, she's getting married
Mhm.
in March, and she had posted something along the lines of talking about how pressuring people to lose weight for the wedding
Ugh.
is also toxic, and I'm like, "Absolutely." Because you were talking about the
Mhm.
buy the dress to fit, it's like, buy what fits you and makes you feel good now, don't buy
Yes.
something and then wind up like, if you don't meet that goal, then you're like, "I can't fit in this dress," and then that how shitty does that make you feel?
Yeah, that feels
Because
even
you
worse. It's
didn't
supposed to be a great day for you. Like,
right.
don't do that.
Yeah, like, don't set yourself up to fail and to be to feel shitty because you didn't meet this thing that
Mhm.
society says you should be. It's stupid. Anyway, that's my judge is
Yeah,
the
I'm here for that.
whole because I've been like you said, emails, text,
Inundated. Oh my
random texts,
god.
absolutely. It's just like, get out of my inbox, please. Just like unsubscribe, It's like,
Mhm.
gosh.
Well, and even things like, meal plan services that I have either looked at or once upon a time I did
Right.
one, like, they're sending me emails too, and instead of the usual, "Hey, let's make life easier for you," easier to
Right.
cook it now it's, "Lose weight. We have meal plans."
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't I don't I mean, do I wanna lose of course I who doesn't want to
Right,
lose weight?
exactly.
But, like,
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine, okay? Like, don't don't give me a complex.
right. I mean, yes, I need to lose weight to be healthy. However, I feel like, you know, again, I know I've gone on this rant before. BMI is also a bullshit
Yeah, it is
standard.
bullshit.
You
It
know,
is, completely useless.
yes, made up by a fucking man who knows nothing.
It
Anyway,
always is. It's always a man, okay? It's always a man.
I know, right? But yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, I do. I know I need to lose weight to be healthier. However, I think the standard that they would say that I needed to be
Mhm.
healthy probably would not be healthy for me. And I don't know that I would ever reach that. I mean, the
Well, and
ideal
it's
weight that I'm supposed to be within. I think
to
that
me,
would,
like, the key should be how you feel. Do you feel good? Are you sleeping well? Do you have
right.
energy to do the things that you wanna do? Are you able to do the things that you wanna do without it hurting? Those are the goals.
Yes.
Those are the goals. You know what?
Yes.
I don't need to lose weight. I'm firmly in my quote unquote BMI bullshit range that they come up with. But you know
Right.
what? I suck at all things sportsy athletic. And part of it is I'm not athletic, but most of that is that I don't work out or exercise because I don't like it. So,
Yes.
I get talks from my doctors like, you really should do more like cardio. I'm like, No, I don't want to. I
You're
will.
like, "No."
I like taking walks. I enjoy that. But after years of passing out like a fucking asshole every time my heart went too fast, I just don't
Right.
enjoy things that make my heart go fast. All right, that's fine. All right, walking is enough. Leave me alone.
I mean, yeah, and walking is fine.
But
It's
like,
just,
I also
like
never lift weights because I don't
you
want
don't
to.
have to, like, do CrossFit, you know,
Can
come
I
kill
pull
yourself.
myself? Can I pull my body weight up? No.
No,
If I'm
you'd,
hanging off a
like,
cliff, I'm gonna die if there's
not
no one
right,
gonna pull me up
exactly.
because I'm not strong.
Nope, upper body is
So,
ridiculous.
I'm not great in a lot of areas either.
But anyway, that's my judge.
That is an excellent judge.
That's my judge, because meh.
Fuck weight loss culture.
Yes,
Fuck it.
100%.
It should be instead of weight loss culture, it should be health awareness. And that should mean a lot of things
Right.
because it also
And
includes
also
your
your, like,
mental
mental
health.
health. Yep.
Because if you're so obsessed with losing weight and you're constantly counting your calories and your push-ups or whatever
Right.
asinine things,
100%.
like you're not happy. You're obsessed and consumed. Hate it all.
100%. Yes. So, there you have it. Anyway,
Excellent. Excellent judge.
what is your judge for this week?
I have brought you something very magical.
Ooh.
But first, let me give you the backstory. So, one of my coworkers is recently back into the dating game.
Mhm.
Her husband unfortunately died several months ago. So she is figuring it
Yeah,
out, going back
it's a
in.
process.
I'm impressed. Like, good for you. And so she'd been on a date with this guy a few times or on some dates, and things seemed to be going well, but like never had like sealed the deal, so to speak.
Yes.
She was interested in going ahead and moving to that next level of sex. It's very important.
Yes.
And so she it's hard, it's awkward. Like, even when you're
Yeah.
in a relationship, it's awkward to talk about sex
Right,
sometimes.
right, yes.
So, to, like, bring it up, it's weird. So she has those cute little magnetic fridge magnet, the little poetry words or whatever.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
And
You can just,
so
like, rearrange and make whatever
mhm.
phrases you want out of them.
And so she composed a poem that she sent him a picture of. And I
Oh
want to
god.
read you the poem because
Oh,
it was
no.
one of the most beautiful pieces of work I have ever read. But anyway, so I'm gonna read to you the poem because one, I hated poetry in all of my English classes growing up because
100%.
they would ask me what I thought it was about, and then I would be told I was wrong, and I still have a lot of feelings about that.
Right, right.
This poem is about sex, okay? It just is.
Okay.
And you don't need to know that when you start reading it. Okay, you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
A blue dream of the tiny death in life. I am still a girl beneath my iron suit, a woman of blood and soul, vain and delicate. What she wants is a good defiling. His, his passion on lazy afternoons. I can't keep asking, do not leave. The refrain is over, through. Why is appetite taboo? Less dress, bare skin, some lust. Do you smell my smooth lathered meat? Your new man anatomy next to my want. Use her fiddle so we can sing and dance together. Let me whisper to you in the night. Make me moan, sordid and sublime, as we fling our arms about life raw and beautiful. Be the dearest atheist, her god who stops the bitter winter. Bring her some spring. It is not too fast. A shot of fire like sun, bright and good, flooding in after blackness. Time to tell me, is it due or adieu?
That sounds like something out of one of those smut novels.
Now or never. No guarantees, no chains, only the best rocking.
Wow. She did that out of those
I
magnets?
know, which is why, like, she was limited, but she made it work, man. She made it work.
That is impressive.
I was like,
That is impressive.
because she showed it to me, and I was like, can I have this? Because like I love
You're like,
this.
you're
I
like, "Can I,
love
like,
this on
make it big and frame
every
it?"
level because one, amazing that you made that out of the stupid poetry magnets that are very limiting.
Right.
Two, that I knew exactly what it was about that you have to tell me. Like I'm like, you're like, are sex or are we done? What is this? You know, like where
Yes.
this is the next step, right? Or like
You're
talking
like,
about it is the
"Are we
next
just
step.
stuck
What's
here?" Or
like
yeah.
what's happening? So like I get it. Like I get it. I get it. And I was like, this is
Nice.
beautiful and amazing. And like I could never have done that. And I just
She sent it to him?
yes.
How did he respond? I need
Um
to know.
well, I will tell you that there was some concerns. He didn't respond for a while, so she was concerned that maybe like he was gonna
Like,
like
that
ghost
was like
her.
yeah.
But then he did, and they've had a conversation, and they were having dinner. So I don't know.
But
Hopefully,
but he did
good thought.
respond,
Yes, so
he
like
did respond,
they're
and there was
now
no
in
ghosting.
there is now
Okay.
conversation, and that's great. Whatever happens on either side,
Right.
conversation and talk and great and good
But it
because
wasn't
like
just like, "Oh, I'm not talking to you anymore because you sent me this poem."
I mean it's hard. It's hard for either gender or any gender to
Right.
not exclude. It's hard for any person to put themselves out there like that.
Oh,
So
100%.
I'm going, this is beautiful. I mean, it's hysterical, but it's
Yes.
beautiful.
That was amazing. I'm not yeah.
And so, like, just
Need to stitch that on a pillow or
I,
something. I mean, good grief.
my favorite one is like, because she sent me like a picture of the magnets on the refrigerator. Obviously, how else would I have gotten it?
Yes.
But my favorite is that like she layers some things on top of other words. So like apparently defile is in there, but so she put the ing over it, so it was defiling.
Oh,
And I'm
okay,
like,
gotcha.
nice, nice.
Gotcha, okay.
So, you know, she 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 fixed some words to make it work for her.
That's impressive.
I know. So I just
Not
wanted
gonna
to
lie,
I
that
wanted
was
to share because I knew you would absolutely appreciate that. It was beautiful. It's a magnificent piece of work.
it does, that sounds like it's, like, straight out of my fairy porn books.
And well, fair, fair. And
No, that was beautiful. I loved it.
unlike the goddamn poem about the stupid fucking red wheelbarrow that I remember
Man,
my teacher telling me was about sex, and I'm like, it's just about a
how?
wheelbarrow. Just
You're
about a
like, "How?"
wheelbarrow. That's all it's
Right.
about. There's a chicken in a yard, and there's just a wheelbarrow. I don't. This one is obviously about sex. Like I see
I
it.
mean, yes. Yes, 100%.
So
I loved it.
yes, yes, yes. I've been very
That
excited.
was, like, chef's kiss. Mwah.
Yeah, I know,
Yes,
right? It's magic.
it was.
All right.
Well, I'm glad that it at least, like,
I
opened
was gonna say
the door for
I think
dialogue.
conversation is happening. So best of luck to them and to everyone who is putting themselves out there.
Exactly. Because that is. It's super
So
hard.
fucking hard. Man, I do not miss that. Not at all.
I mean, I swear, if anything, like, happened between Brandon and myself, whatever, I'd just be like, "Nope, I'm gonna go get a bunch of cats, and I'm gonna go be crazy old cat lady. I'm not doing it again."
Right? No, I'm gonna be one of those like Tinder people that's like one night stands only, no names.
You're like, "I'm
I
done."
don't. I'm good. Thanks. All right.
Oh, jeez.
Our sweary
Alright.
affirmation for the
Ooh,
week.
yes. Sweary affirmation, yes. I did enjoy last week's. That was excellent.
You did not wake up today to be a weak ass bitch.
It's true.
You did not. You're gonna be a strong ass bitch.
Right. Be a boss bitch.
That's right. Okay.
Alright.
And now we're gonna move on to the main part of our show. Museums.
Yes.
What? Great. I go first this week.
Okie doke.
I sent you a shit ton of pictures.
I know, and I was like, "Good God."
Well, you know, it's this one required a lot of pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I get it,
It just
yeah.
does. It just does. because I am going to tell you about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.
Dun dun dun.
I will tell you that I got all of my information from gardnermuseum.org. You can go there to get your tickets. And this is a robbery, a documentary on Netflix. It's a really good documentary. Highly recommend.
Is it?
Four part series.
Okay.
So first I'm going to tell you about Isabella Stewart Gardner herself. Just a quick little rundown.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
she was born in New York City on April 14th, 1840. And she was born to a pretty well-to-do family. She was privately educated and she was quote unquote finished abroad, like they do back
Oh,
in the day.
yes. Mhm.
While she
I do.
was in Paris, she became really good friends with a girl named Julia Gardner, who
Okay.
later introduced her to her brother, John. And based on the title of the museum, you can guess they got married.
I mean, I was sort to say.
And how about that? So they got married and they settled in Boston. Now, she was really into the intellectual life and was super into attending like readings and would go to lectures that the very first art history professor at Harvard, he would do lectures and she would go to those, go and listen,
Ooh.
and got inspired to start collecting rare books and manuscripts, starting with Dante's early editions. So like she went hard. She's like, let's go straight to Dante and be like,
Oh,
what?
wow. Yeah, that's a excessive.
Um, well, and she was wealthy. She married wealthy, 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 wealthy. They traveled a lot.
Right.
Went abroad several times, and while she was in Venice, she became really inspired to create a museum in Boston and started to collect many masterpieces. So her husband died, I think it was like 1898,
Okay.
1899. Like they had planned this together.
Mhm.
But he got pneumonia and passed away, and she would not be stopped. She was going forward with the museum they had talked about. So
Right.
they built a museum. It started construction in 1899, was finished in 1901, and opened January 1st of 1903 because New Year's Day is not a holiday in 1903.
Apparently
Yeah.
not.
She had many, I mean, she had lots of really famous artists in her
Uh-huh.
collection. And when she died in 1924, she left the museum, quote unquote, for the education and enjoyment of the public forever.
Nice.
Mhm. She provided an endowment because she had lots of money in order to operate the museum, but her will stipulated that nothing in the galleries should be changed, no items should be acquired or sold from the collection. And if
Okay,
anything
that's
was
yeah.
changed, then she wanted everything to be sold, all of her collection to be sold off in Paris. Like she's like, this is how it is. Keep it like this, or no one gets it. No one can see it.
Right. Yeah.
And like in the documentary I watched, she sounded a little bit eccentric, but like in a fun way,
Okay. Uh-huh.
because she was really obsessed with not letting anyone see it until it officially opened.
Okay,
And
yeah. I
so
mean, I get
she,
that.
no, I get it.
That's yeah.
But she wanted to check the acoustics of the rooms, with having live musicians, because that's,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's early 1900s. I get it. I get it.
Right. Yeah.
And in order to check the acoustics, but not let anyone in to see it, she had people who attended the school for the blind to come so that they could sit and listen to make sure the acoustics, it sounded great in all the places
Okay.
without
I
being
mean,
able to
yeah.
see anything.
Wow. That's extra,
I
but
was
I
like, all
mean
right. I mean, sure. That's.
I mean, if anybody's gonna judge acoustics, I guess you it would be.
I was like, I mean, all right, sure. It just seemed a little bit extra. You're right. Just a
I mean,
little.
yeah, yeah, extra. Yep.
Okay, now we're gonna go forward to March 18th, 1990. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is where shit happens. This is what we're here for. This is the real story.
I was 6. Okay, let's do this. That's why it's like, I don't really remember this
Um,
happening.
I was also 6 because it was March 18th. I was not yet 9 or 7. 9.
Gotcha.
I can't
9.
math. I
I was
can't
like,
math.
"Whoa,
Because
how
I'm
old are you?"
staring at 1990 over here, like 9999. Okay,
I know, right?
whatever, whatever. So March 18th, it was the day after St. Patrick's Day,
Yes.
and in Boston, St. Patrick's Day is a big fucking deal.
Yeah, yes, it is.
They go hard. They deserve it. Like it's a whole it's a huge holiday there. It's not anywhere else, but it is in
They don't
Boston.
go home. They go hard. They do not
They
go
do
home.
not go home. There is no home. There's only more celebrating. And in this particular year, the St. Patrick's Day parade was actually being held on the 18th. Not sure why. It just was.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter. It may be always that way, so everybody can go get drunk on the 17th and then like
And then it's like,
reconvene.
part and we yeah, like, more party.
Yeah. But essentially, because this St. Patrick's Day that year was on a Saturday, so this was a Sunday. So like it's a Saturday night. People essentially had been celebrating Friday and Saturday and Sunday because
I
it's
just
a,
keep
like
going. We
St.
just keep
Patrick's
party
Day
all
weekend.
week.
It's like we can just party all weekend.
Yep.
So it's 7:30 in the morning on March 18th. And one of the workers at the museum comes to relieve the overnight guards. And so the normal protocol is that they go and they hit the buzzer to be buzzed into the building. But no one was
Yeah. Mhm.
coming to answer the buzzer. Like they got no response and they were concerned. So there are a couple of people there, I think, at that point trying to get in. They didn't have keys because it's a building that someone is always there because they have a lot of really nice art there, man. It's really nice.
Right.
So they knew something must be wrong because there's two guards that stay overnight
And nobody is
and no one is
answering the
coming.
door.
And so they're like,
Yeah.
something's wrong. So
Right.
they end up calling the chief of security who comes to let them in. Like he comes, they all go in together essentially. And as soon as they go in, they know something is wrong. All
Right.
of the security cameras have been turned around.
Oh, yeah, that's like, "No, this is no bueno. This is not good at
Mhm.
all."
An office the office door had been busted down, and there's a crowbar randomly leaning against the wall because they're coming in the employee entrance. This is not like the main part of the museum. So they're like, something's wrong. So they call the police and the museum director, the director who had only been there for 6 months, by the way. Bless her. Bless her.
Oh, poor guy.
Girl.
Girl, sorry.
I know.
Poor person. Whatever. It's just, jeez.
And
6
so
months. Mm.
the they call the police. The police get there. Um, Interestingly, one of the workers was interviewed in the documentary, and she talked about how when they went in and saw the crowbar leaning against the wall, the chief of security took the crowbar and handed it to her. And she was like, "Oh my God, well, you're handing me something that's now it's going to have my fingerprints on it. I'm going to get in trouble." And then she realized he handed it to me in case someone is still in the building and I need it as a weapon.
Oh my god.
So,
Like, oh,
holy
jeez.
fuck.
Oops.
So the police get there. They cannot find either of the two security guards. They're just not they're not there. And then
That's not good.
they one of the workers is like, "Oh, the tunnels. There were tunnels in the basement beneath the
Oh,
museum, and so no one
no.
had gone down there. And so the police go down there, and they're like, you know what you put in tunnels? Bodies. You put bodies in the tunnel. Like you don't.
Yeah.
So they go down into the tunnels, expecting to find the bodies of the security guards. But surprisingly, they found the security guards alive. They've been duct taped to pipes and things. So like they're all tied up, but
I mean,
they're alive.
that's better
Yeah,
than bodies.
they're fine. They're alive. Um,
Good. Okay.
it included Richard Abbott, who is 23. I sent you a picture of him. This is where it will pop up,
Uh-huh.
where he was taped around his head and his hair was like weirdly, just a weird looking duct tape scenario. And then his hands
Yeah,
were
I remember seeing
also,
that photo and I was like,
who did that?
what I was like, what is happening in this photo?
And then his hands had been taped together behind him, but to a pipe. And then the other security guard named Randy had also been duct taped, not quite as bizarrely, but like duct
Right.
taped, duct taped hands. And
Yes.
so pretty soon thereafter, the FBI arrives, which
I
I
mean,
mean it's Boston; they have an office there.
right. Yeah.
And so as they walk through the museum with the director, they see that in some of the galleries there are frames that have been removed from the walls. The art is missing and it's just laying on the frames are just laying on the floor, just
Oh, so
piled
they
there.
took it out of the frame.
So the paintings
Oh,
had
jeez.
been cut out of the frames. They had not been unscrewed.
No. Oh God, this hurts my heart.
Exactly. Because here's what's weird about that. Cutting them out actually would have been pretty time consuming and difficult because of how they're put into the frame. So they're
Uh-huh.
protected. But also, it's incomprehensible that they would treat art that way. Because you can't take,
You can't sell it. Like,
well,
I
and you
mean, you've
can't
damaged
roll
it.
it up. You're going to crack
Right.
the shit out of it. Like, it has to be stored flat. It's supposed to be flat.
Right.
Like, it was
Like,
so
this is not a
bizarre.
banner. This is not some banner you've been hanging out. Like, oh, let's just roll it up and put it in a tube. No, that's not how you treat this.
No, this is
Neanderthals. That's what they
this is
are.
not the Declaration of Independence and National Treasure, okay?
At
It's just not.
100%. No, it's not.
You can't just
No.
roll that shit up and be like, it's fine. Because it's not fine. It is not fine.
No. No, it's not.
So, this is what happened. In the early hours of March 18th, a vehicle pulled up near the side entrance of the museum. Two men in police uniforms pushed the museum buzzer, stating that they were responding to a disturbance and were requesting access to the building. The guard on duty broke protocol and allowed
Ooh.
them to come in through the employee entrance, at which point they step into like a vestibule kind of space. So like they can't go back out, the door is locked. They have to be buzzed out. They
Uh-huh.
can't go further in because there's a second door that they have to be let in through. So they're trapped in the space.
Mm-hmm.
While they're in that space, um, the blah blah blah. The did I skip it? Blah blah blah. Step through the okay. And so the officers then requested that he step away from the desk. Later, he claims that he was told they had an arrest warrant for him, and so he lets them in. And once he lets them
What?
in,
I'd be like, no.
and once they let him in, they handcuff him, which doesn't make sense because they were duct taped. I don't know where the handcuffs went. I don't know. This is just the words.
Yeah.
Uh, and the second guard, and then they tie them up in the basement. 81 minutes later, the thieves leave with 13 works of art.
So almost an hour and a half.
Which
They
is, yeah,
were That's ridiculous.
it's fucking ridiculous. So,
And nobody knew, like, an hour and a half, and it's just like, we're just gonna steal what we want
well, and
and take
so
our sweet time doing it.
it is really bizarre. This is one of the most bizarre stories you will ever hear because you're like, the fuck what?
Yeah, 100%.
So they do know the movements that were made because there are motion detectors in the building, and they would send information to a printer, print off like motion detected in blah 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 room, whatever. In
Right.
fact, I sent you a picture of that as well. What the motion detector notifications were.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
uh-huh. Yep, I
they
remember
do
seeing that.
know that they first went to what they called the Dutch Room and spent some time there, and then went to the Short Gallery and ended finally in the Blue Room. So they were gone by 2:45 a.m. after taking two separate trips to the car to put the stolen art in. So like they didn't like grab it and go. They took trips to the car, and there's two of them,
Oh my god. Like they're moving? Like, we're just,
right?
we're just loading up, it's fine.
And so there were actually two witnesses outside of the museum that saw the cops in a not cop car. I forgot what they said it was, but like it's just like a hatch, like a crappy old car, a hatchback or something. I don't know. And so these two witnesses, because they were young adults out celebrating St. Patrick's Day, so they gave descriptions to the cops as well, and the descriptions they gave didn't match the descriptions that the museum security guards gave. So like the sketches are what the museum guards said they look like, as opposed to what the witnesses said they look like. But nonetheless, they saw the two police officers. They
Yeah,
made a note that it was weird that they were in a non-cop car when they were wearing
yeah,
uniforms, because that doesn't make sense.
yes, uh-huh.
But in one of the many messed up things that happened, the FBI never talked to those witnesses because everybody sucked ass.
What?
The whole thing was just a fucking
Oh my
nightmare.
gosh!
So,
It sounds like it. I mean, this sounds like a clusterfuck of epic proportions. It's just like,
yes, yes. And
if
there's
it
some
could go
reasons,
wrong,
yeah.
it went wrong.
And there's some reasons why. Part of it was 1990, it was the 90s.
Right, exactly.
But also, there was no, like, part of the FBI or of any really police force or anything that dealt with stolen art. Like there wasn't a
Right,
task force, there wasn't any like designated person who dealt with it. So like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So it was just an absolute fucking nightmare.
right.
But let's go back to our security guard Rick, who is the prime player in this story for me
Mhm.
because he's also in
This
the
one
documentary.
whose head was, like, all janky taped up?
Yes. Who let
Okay.
them the one who let them in, by the way. He's the one who let them in.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
So Rick says that at midnight, he goes to do the first set of rounds on the upper floors. And he says that while he's doing his rounds, the fire alarms were randomly going off, but nothing was on fire. It was just,
Right.
so he said he shut off the fire alarms. So then he comes back down to their little space where next to the employee entrance, and he relieves the other guard, Randy. Excuse me. And weird thing, while he's down there alone, he goes to that employee entrance door and he opens it. This is before the cop shop. He opens it and like stands there for a minute and then closes it again about 15 minutes before the fake cop show, which is weird.
That is weird.
Now, he claimed that he did that all the time, but that was against protocol and no one else ever did it and no one else verified that they saw him do it a lot. So,
Hmm.
it's just a weird, I don't know.
Suspish.
Right,
It's
right.
suspish. Mhm.
So then about 15 minutes later, it's 1:24 in the morning, and that's when the two men show up dressed as police officers, and they say, "I have a warrant for your arrest." Once they get in, and so he
To which I would've
steps
been like, "No, thanks, you can stay outside."
right and be like, "Well, good luck getting in, bitches, because you
I
can't
know,
get in." You
right?
know. So they come to the door. They claim there's a disturbance. They need into the building. He lets them into the building, which is when they say they have a warrant for his arrest, at which point he lets them into the building
Like,
proper,
yes.
and he steps away from the desk and away from the button that he could press to have the real Boston police show up. They had a button.
Wow. This yeah.
And so, this is his
Shady.
story. So then he gets tied up downstairs with the other security guard. And again, reminder, 81 minutes later, 13 pieces are gone. Now, here's the thing you need to know. In the land of robbery, 10 minutes is an incredibly long time to stay somewhere and take stuff because you never
Yes.
know
Yeah.
what's been triggered, who's coming.
Right.
So it's
Because usually it
usually
very much is, like, in and out.
it's
Like, do
you
it as
grab
fast as
that
you
shit
possibly
and you
can.
run the fuck out.
Absolutely.
But they felt comfortable enough to be there for 81 minutes.
I mean, yeah, that's an eternity. That's why I was like an hour and a half.
Yes, it
That's
is.
ridiculous.
So there were 13 total pieces of art that were taken. In the Dutch room, one of the most important pieces, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee by Rembrandt,
Mhm.
which is beautiful. I'll toss that
Yes.
picture up. I'll toss other pictures up as I talk about them. Portrait of a Lady and Gentleman in Black, also by Rembrandt, which, interestingly, not long before this happened, they had discovered that using, I think, an X-ray, that there had to been a child painted between the lady and gentleman that had been painted out by Rembrandt. The thought was that the child had died, and it was such a
Oh.
hard thing for them to handle that they asked him to paint the child out. So they have like an X-ray where you can kind of see just like a vague sense of a child between them. But so I was like, well, that's extra sad.
That is yeah, that's oh
Hmm.
my gosh.
Um, let's see. The concert, yeah, I think so, by Vermeer. Uh,
Mhm.
one thing about Vermeer is that there are only 33 to 35 paintings of his in the entire world. So bye.
Wow.
And one is gone forever. There was a flink, the obelisk in a landscape, a Chinese beaker that was the oldest piece of work taken, the Rembrandt self-portrait sketch. And this one was super interesting because it is super fucking tiny. Like, it is the size of a postage stamp tiny.
Yes. Mhm.
And the frame around it would fit in the palm of your hand. It's not big.
Like you could just steal it, like the whole
Right.
thing.
They could just take, like, you just stick it in your jeans pocket. Like, it's not big.
Right.
But they took the time to unscrew it from the frame and take only the sketch.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that weird?
That's
So
very weird.
weird. And they were really scared because there is a Rembrandt self-portrait painting that they thought was also stolen because the frame was on the floor, but
Oh
when they
no.
picked it up, it was still in its frame. So they
Okay.
thought, well, maybe they got sidetracked, forgot, or
Just
ran out of
didn't
time, or which I don't know how you
they
run out of
had all
time.
the
Had
time.
all the time. From there, they went to the short gallery, in which they stole 5 works on paper. A lot of Degas, he, from jockeys riding horses to 2 of the program. It's a similar piece, but one is more detailed than the other.
Right. Mhm.
So lots of Degas. They also took a Napoleonic finial, which is like a probably brass eagle, is
Mhm.
what it looks like.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then from the blue room, they took only one thing, a Manet, the Ches Tortoni. So sad.
It's
So yeah,
just blows my mind.
it's
I mean, it
it's
really
insane.
is. It's just like it's hard for me to wrap my brain around all of this. It's just like,
Yes, it's
ugh.
absolutely bonkers to me because in those 13 pieces that were taken, over $200 million worth of art was taken.
Right. That's
And
insane.
these pieces were so well known that they could not be sold or fenced. It's not like they could go in the black market to anyone who could like then kind of own it and hang it up anywhere because everyone was looking for this shit. So At the time, they thought, well, maybe it's like a private collector who like specifically hired these people to get specific things, because there are many other amazing pieces of art by some of the same artists and by other incredibly well-known artists that were worth infinitely more than these that were not taken. So it was a very confusing thing.
Yes. Obviously.
But as I mentioned, the FBI did not have an art squad. No one did. And so it was a
Mhm.
struggle from the very beginning.
Right.
And the FBI basically told the museum board they needed to get a reward for the return of the pieces or information out immediately because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. No one knew anything. So, interestingly, Sotheby's and Christie's, the two big auction companies,
Yes. Uh-huh.
together, they put together a $1 million reward to get those pieces back. And I was like, that's so
Wow.
nice. That's really nice. It is really nice. Um, so here's some weird things. The things that make you go, hmm, other than being there for an hour and a half.
Right.
So, other weird things. In the Dutch room, there is a secret panel that leads to like the conservator's room, and it was ajar when the police got there. And they were really perplexed how why it was ajar, how the robbers would know that it even
Right.
existed because it's not a known thing. It's not
Yeah.
frequently open. It looks just like the wall. You would have no idea that it
Like,
actually
it's like,
opens to
"Ooh,
another room.
secret passage."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were like, how did they even know that existed? Um, it was also the security cameras. Yeah, they were turned around, but they did have a security camera system. And since it was the 90s,
Yes.
it was a VHS system. And somehow,
Oh,
well, I mean, you know,
VHS. I know, still, it's
and
just like the
somehow they knew where the VCR was and they took the tape with them.
wow. So they mm, sounds like an inside job to me.
You
Just
think?
saying.
Another thing, a proximity alarm did go off. The one that was on the storm on the Sea of Galilee. And normally, when alarms like that go off, thieves book it because they don't know if it's triggering something that's going to call someone to show up,
Right. Or if it's just yeah.
or if it's just a noise that's made to draw attention. And
Right.
so they didn't. They stayed for another like hour after that. So
Wow.
they seemed to know that it didn't alert the police. They also took the printout from the motion detectors, but they did not realize that it was still on a hard drive. So police were able to print it out so that I could show it to you because I sent you that picture.
Yes.
But they did rip out the real-time printout that had been printed and took it with them. Another strange thing. This one's by far the most strange. Only one piece was taken from the Blue Room. So most everything was taken from the short gallery or from Left My Brain, Words Are
Was it the
Hard,
Dutch?
the Dutch Room, yes,
Yeah.
which is on like the second floor.
Okay.
The Blue Room is on the first floor. So they got most everything on the second floor. And somehow only one piece from the first floor in the Blue Room was taken. But this is where it gets strange. The motion detector printout showed that only one instance had occurred there of motion detection in that room that night. And that was when Richard Abbott did his rounds at midnight. So there isn't actually a motion reading that says
Hmm.
during the time that the fake cops were there that someone went into that room. So the question is, did he take that one painting or was it stolen after the police got there? Did someone just take advantage of the fact that stuff had been stolen and took one?
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Interesting.
Also, good old Rick had already put in his notice to leave the job before
Oh,
this happened.
really?
Now he is a 23-year old music school dropout. So he claimed that it was interfering with his band schedule and practice. He was in a band because he's
Gotcha.
cool dude. Look at the hair, man. Look
I
at the
know.
hair.
Rock band, woo.
So he looks incredibly guilty, and he is in the
Right.
documentary a lot. And you just don't know. Like there's just nothing about it.
What vibe did you get when you watched it?
Well, it's a conflicting vibe because they actually present several different thoughts and theories.
Gotcha.
Um,
Mhm.
I'll talk a little bit about that, but he's my favorite theory because it seems obvious that there was some inside person. Because the reality is, it could have been
Right.
any guard or any employee that could have given someone the information they needed, especially if they knew that Rick was prone to opening the door when he was on duty and that he was easy to persuade.
Right. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, this wasn't the first time a robbery tried to happen at this museum.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh.
So in 1981, another art thief let off a smoke bomb, and during the panic and confusion, he tried to leave with 3 paintings that he knew exactly
Wow.
where they were and which ones they were,
Uh-huh.
and the expensive ones. But he was caught, so that he wasn't able to leave the building with them.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they were on their game then.
And so, well, it was like during open hours or whatever. The director at that time seemed really nonplussed about it. It was like, well, but they caught him. It's no big deal. And so people were like, we need a director who's gonna like fix shit and make sure that we're okay.
Right.
Which is how we got to Anne Hawley, who was the director starting September of 1989. And so she was really earnest, and she authentically cared about the museum. She loved it. She talks about how beautiful it was to work there. It's a beautiful place. I did go once when I was in Boston.
Oh, did you?
Yep. Um,
Nice.
just to honestly to go see the empty picture frames. It's a really cool museum. We'll have to go sometime. But she was really trying to get it up to code because at by the time she became director in '89, they still didn't have climate control in a museum with priceless
That
works of art.
that
Hmm.
that's wild to me
Uh-huh.
because that's like a huge thing
It's
when it
yes,
comes to having artwork is you need that
right?
yeah.
And so
That's wild.
um at one point they talked about how sometimes clouds would actually form inside because the moisture inside was as high as it was outside, which is
Yeah.
really bad for
Right.
priceless art. Also in that short period of time before this happened, one of their sewer pipes broke over a gallery, so they had to deal with all that.
Whoa.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So in 6 months, clouds inside, trying to fix climate. Sewer pipe broke in a gallery that they had to get that fixed. So like she hadn't yet gotten to the point where they were supposed to upgrade all of their security stuff. Because unlike most museums that had like retired police officers or things like that were
Right.
security guards or people who had been trained, they just had, Rick, the 23-year-old music school dropout, as an overnight
Right.
security guard.
Like
Like
it's
it
just
just,
like, okay.
they weren't really trying that hard, let's be real.
I mean,
Um
that's fair.
and so then this happens, and bless her heart, like she was consumed immediately with people calling claiming they had information because people would want to call and talk to her or to the security guard chief of security.
Right.
not the police or not the FBI, and they were constantly getting bomb threats and death threats, and she was getting stuff from people in prison because everybody wanted to make a deal. It
Wow.
was, I mean, it was huge news, and so she, bless her heart, like I don't know how she survived it. It sounded like an absolute nightmare.
Yes, it does. I mean, that sounds awful.
But so in the documentary, they go on to explain some other theories that they have because late 80s, early 90s, mafia is still around. I mean, not quite as
Yeah.
hardcore, but like there's still a lot of mafia ties in Boston. And Boston is one of those
Right.
small towns that's a big city, but it's a small town where everybody knows somebody who's in quote unquote the game.
Yes, 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 yes.
And around this time, it had become a belief among thieves that, or criminals, that you could get out of jail for other crimes or have your sentence reduced if you could give them like a piece of art that had been stolen because it had happened a couple of times before. The FBI made deals
Right.
like, oh, well, we'll let you out or we'll give you time off if you can get the painting back or whatever. And so there seemed to be this belief that a lot of mafia had knowledge or ownership of stolen art for that purpose, just for bargaining.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
like they went down the
Mhm.
mafia thing quite a while um to use as like a get out of jail free card. So it's like who did it? It gets really interesting in the documentary because there's this whole mafia conspiracy group. I'm not gonna say names because I don't remember them quite honestly.
Right.
Um, but like it's like 7 people,
Mhm.
and 2 of the people kinda look like the sketches, not gonna lie. One of them really looks like the sketch, like, he really fucking looks
Uh-huh.
like the guy. Um,
Yeah.
and anytime one of them got into a position where they were maybe gonna cooperate with the police on other things, not specifically this art heist, like other mob things or,
Right.
they would get murdered quickly.
Wow.
So, like, in this particular group of, like, it's like 7 or 8 people, they're all dead except for one guy who everyone thinks is, like, the main guy.
I
Now
mean, because he's the only one who's still
well, yeah.
alive, so
Well, but
yeah.
also, like, he was the one that was calling the shots or whatever.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and so he's one of the persons of interest related to this specifically. Like, he's been named by the FBI, and he has been in prison for, like, 21 years for other crimes. It's not the specific one. And bizarrely, he was supposed to stay in prison until 1930, not 1920, 35, 2036.
Uh-huh.
That's what he was sentenced to.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it gets dropped down to 2025. And
Oh.
it's not like, because if it's something to do with sentencing changes or guidelines or whatever, that's always mentioned, but no one is saying why. And then very suddenly in 2019, he's actually just released. And so there's speculation that
Oh.
he has cooperated in some way, shape, or form because
Right.
the FBI keeps saying things like we have information and we know who was involved or whatever, and everyone's like, where are the paintings? Where's the art? Prove it, you know.
Right. I mean, yeah, it is. It's like, if you know, we need something, you know.
And so there is this other like main guy. His last name I remember is Gentile because it stuck in my brain because it's Gentile. And so one theory is that perhaps when he dies, because he was like the true like all father or whatever in this particular.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they some suspect that when he dies, because he is pretty old, that more information will come out then that people will be more willing to talk. Because at this point, Claire, the reward is $10 million plus immunity. So like you could have
Right.
all of the art. You could be the person who stole it and you could come forward and get promised immunity and you're going to get $10 million
And
just
then
for
you
handing
just
it
give
over.
it back.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
here
I
you go.
know, right?
but because it's
Oh,
about
this
the
stuff's been chilling in my
recovery,
basement.
because
Yeah.
it's all about the recovery of the artwork. It's not even about
Right.
specifically finding the people responsible.
I
So it
know, yeah,
is.
it's like they just want
They
the
just
art
want it
back.
back.
Yes.
Um, so today you can still visit the museum and you can see all the places, all the frames that were left behind are hung where they belong, empty. And it's
Wow.
kind of eerie when you see it. And
Right,
you're
you're
like,
just
this
like,
is
"This is
where a
weird, it's
masterpiece
weird."
was that, you know, is potentially lost because ultimately they could be anywhere. They got reports that it was in France, that they were in Saudi Arabia, that they were
Right.
in the Caribbean, that they were in South America, that they were all these places. There's even like a whole like IRA Ireland potential connection. The IRA was part of the whole shtick trying to get money in order to fund their, leave Ireland
Right.
thing.
Yes.
So like they've been quote unquote cited all over, but it's bananas. I mean, it's been what was 20, 30 plus years?
Mhm. Yes.
It's been, yeah, like 33 years. Good Lord.
It will be 33, yeah.
And they still haven't found a single one. Not one.
That's insane.
It is
That it's
insane.
just gone.
They're just,
That's what yeah,
I
that's
mean,
nuts to me.
just gone, gone.
Yes. Wow.
But there it is. That is my story of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum and the heist of all heists, because it is the
Right.
greatest theft of property ever. Ever.
I mean, yes, it is. I mean, there's no that's I mean, it's just the whole thing is
Yeah.
wild to me. It's bizarre.
It's bananas
Crazy.
bonkers.
It really is. You're just like, "Wait, what?" 81 minutes?
81
I
minutes.
mean, that
Like,
that to me, I was like, "Wait, what?"
I mean, like, what if someone called to like check on something, One of
Right,
the
yeah.
security guards' loved ones happened to call, or friends, "Hey, what you doing, Rick?" You know.
Randy. Ugh, that's bananas.
Mhm.
And that nothing has ever been recovered. That
Nothing.
also,
Not one
to
thing.
me, is bananas.
But
Damn.
hopefully in our lifetime we'll find some kind of conclusion. But cuz the worst part is cuz it was the 90s, like they didn't have the technology we have now, but like the
Right.
nothing was handled correctly. They have no idea
No,
who how many people were in scenes. The duct tape itself got lost, so they can't even
they don't
like
even
look
know.
for fingerprints on the duct tape now. Like
Ugh,
it's just gone. It's gone. It's big giant clusterfuck.
damn.
Well, Claire,
Yes.
what story have you brought us for museums?
I'm gonna be telling you all about the ghosties at the Cleveland Museum of Art.
Ooh, Cleveland must be
Yes,
super haunted, man.
apparently. Um, got my sources from uh clevelandart.org, cleveland19.com, it's a local news channel,
Hmm.
and news.artnet.com. So, anyway, I'll tell you a little bit about Cleveland Museum of Art. It was founded in 1913 and then opened June 6th, 1916. They had several endowments from some prominent industrialists at the time that donated money and property, and
Mm-hmm.
around 1.25 million, and became internationally known during the 40s and 50s due to like securing some large bequests.
Sure, sure.
I love that word,
As you do.
bequest. Yes.
Bequest.
Several additions and wings have been opened since it was first built. It has a large collection of Asian pieces, and some of it is considered some of the finest in our country.
Hmm.
Which why we have Asian pieces, I don't know.
Again,
Anyway,
like, why do we have that?
right, 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 right. and it celebrated its centennial in 2016. So it's over 100 years old. It's anyway. So there are hauntings. In fact, I think they said this is like one of the most haunted museums in the country. Which can I just say, museums in general,
They
I
have to
feel
be.
all of them have to be haunted some
Well,
way, shape, or form
I
because you
mean,
have the stuff that you have there and the history, especially if you've got stuff that belonged to people who met violent ends
right.
or, waged violent wars. And I mean, they're connected to these pieces. I
Well,
just feel
do
like
you
that's got to be,
do you
something. It just,
do you remember when we were in the Tower of London and it was all the like armor, suits of armor or whatever.
yes.
And
Uh
I was
huh.
looking at my pictures later and there was a face in the armor and I'm like, I don't remember
Yes.
that actually being there when we were there. And when I went with my family a few years ago, I looked. I looked for faces in the armor. I didn't see any faces in the
You
armor.
didn't see anything.
And I'm just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Just
But
saying.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
That shit's
absolutely.
haunted. That shit's haunted.
I just feel like museums in general, like if they're not haunted, then that would surprise me if they weren't. Like I
Well,
feel
and just
like
like having that many things that perhaps have tragic histories connected to them, that's gotta at least like open
yes,
a portal to like encourage other ghosties to hang out. I mean, bare
right.
minimum. I mean, come
I
on.
mean, in all these portraits of people, and you can't tell me
Right?
that in based on this as well, that part of their soul is not connected to some of these portraits
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like it's too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like one of them in the Cleveland Museum of Art, it's a painting of a little boy, and it looks like I don't know Renaissance ish,
Sure.
hard to tell. It's just like face, not even like full body, and patrons and employees both have claimed to see a little boy
No.
running around
No.
the museum in like period clothes.
That's
Like
too
and
creepy.
he'll run to this portrait and then he disappears.
Ugh.
Yes, he just disappears into the painting. And so this little boy is just like running around. I mean, I would die. I'd be like, "Wait, what?"
Okay. We have to go and we have to go find the little boy and then we have to run screaming away because we're giant fucking cowards. Because we
We
are.
are. We are. And that is not the only spirit that's connected to a painting that has been seen. There is one that they call the Grain Man, and it
No,
is,
I don't like this already.
I mean, anyway,
With a name
the
like that.
picture, yeah, I know. The picture is portrait of Jean Gabriel at the signing of the Treaty of Vienna. And
It's
they
a
call
really
him,
long title, but okay.
I know, right? They call him the Gray Man. And they said that they'll see him just observing and watching visitors like down hallways
Mm,
and in galleries,
mm-mm.
and that he'll either just vanish or he can be seen returning to the place where his portrait hangs. And
Can you imagine if your soul gets stuck to like a,
a
a
picture.
picture?
But what's so creepy,
Oh.
what's even creepier is when they took his picture down to replace it with something else, the
Mm-hmm.
sightings stopped. Like they haven't seen him since they removed the photo or removed the portrait from
No,
the
put it
gallery.
back. Put it
I
back.
know. Um, there is also a very large ornate mirror in one of the galleries.
Mirrors are
It
portals
looks,
to hell. Keep
I
going.
know, it looks very baroque. Anyway, I mean, it's all like
If it's
gold
not
and
Baroque, don't fear.
right, exactly. Patrons and employees both have claimed that they're standing in front of this mirror and they see somebody behind them, and when they turn around, nobody's there.
No.
Like whoever was behind them just vanishes.
No.
I know
Oh
that
my
like
god.
I know
Oh my
that's
god.
like
We have to go to
awful.
Cleveland.
Yes, I know it's just awful. One of the directors of the museum, his name was William M. Milliken. He was the second director
Mhm.
of the museum from 1930 to 1958. And it was during his tenure that the museum really started to be recognized internationally. And the last year of his directorship, the museum had the first major addition that actually doubled the size of the museum,
Oh.
and it received a large bequest slash
Another
donation,
bequest.
bequest slash donation that allowed the museum to function in international collecting. So
Oh.
that really, this money helped them to be able to go out and get pieces that really put them like on the international level and make it like one of the
Well,
museums
hell, we need to
that
go
people.
for just that,
I
if
know, and
nothing
it's just like
else.
in
In
Cleveland,
Cleveland? I
right?
mean, all
And then we'll
right.
just go, and then we can go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, and also to
Anyway,
the Franklin Castle and stay the night and scare
yes,
ourselves to
yes, we
death.
can do all.
It'll be
I know
a
there's
super haunted thing. I'm sure the Rock
all
and Roll
kinds
Hall of
of
Fame's freaking haunted too. Everything's haunted.
probably. It's got all those clothes and stuff. Absolutely.
Lord.
But people claim that they've seen him still wandering the halls and galleries of the museum, enjoying the collections.
Well, I mean, if you love it, it's
I
fine, I
know,
guess.
right?
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna hang out in the Biltmore Library, so
And I on this cleveland19.com, it was a video and article. It was like a news clip. The news reporter, I did not catch her name. They didn't have
hmm.
her name on there. But she interviewed a lady named Leslie Cade, who was like the interim director and like in charge of the archives. And she believes that the museum is most definitely haunted. And she talked about all of these different things, as did other articles that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that the original part called the West Wing, which I'm like, is the most haunted and most active with these
I mean,
activities.
fair.
But the news reporter had a couple of her own stories,
Yeah.
which it was, I'm going to have to get a screenshot of it because I don't know, because it just showed the photo, but I'll have to get a screenshot of it. She was there for some kind of, I think she said night at the museum event,
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
and she was standing in front of this like stone head called the Colossal Head of Deva, and it's this Asian looking
Mm-hmm.
stone, almost looks kind of Buddha-ish,
Oh, sure,
but
sure.
like the, like just the eyes, mouth is closed, it's just this head. And she said that her friend took like two or three pictures of her, and the first one, she was not in the frame, it was just a picture of the
The
head.
head. Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, she's standing in front of it, and right behind the head is like glass, like a window. And
Okay.
you can see
No.
in the reflection,
No.
it's so fucking weird. Because its mouth is shut, but in the reflection, its mouth is open. And there's like a double in the way that, I don't know if it's the light or what, but there's like a double reflection. So it makes it look like there's two of those things when there's only one.
Oh shit.
And they never could replicate that reflection.
Oh shit.
They
No.
like she called, I guess she called the museum and went back, and they tried two or three
Mm-hmm.
different other times to try to get that same reflection to
Oh,
see if it was just like
chills.
a trick of the light at
I'm
the
freaking
time
out,
or a
man.
fluke.
Oh my
I know.
god.
This is where I started like freaking
Freaking
myself
out. You're like,
out,
oh my god.
because it looks like this thing is like, oh, it's got like it's yelling at her in
Yeah.
the photo.
Oh
Like it's like,
god.
I'm just like, its mouth is but its mouth here is not yeah. It was, I mean, it's her photo, because she said that she noticed it when she went to upload it to social media. And she was like, wait a minute.
She's like,
This
I
is,
don't
and it
recall
almost
that.
looks like its eyes have like life to them.
Ugh.
Like they're not just the blank,
They're sentient eyes. Oh
Yeah, and she
god.
did. She was like, it looks like this reflection is like staring through me, and like,
Ooh.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, they tried to replicate and get it to where that reflect, and never could get it to reflect correctly to where there were two heads showing. Anyway, and then I guess they gave her camera people access
Mm-hmm.
to the building at weird times, but said they were just rolling. Camera had her camera crew there. They were just rolling video and stuff for like 3 hours in the West Wing.
I bet that was fun.
And I know, right? And they said out of nowhere this alarm tripped. Like, and they don't know what tripped it. And so you can hear it in the video,
Mm-hmm.
and they're talking about how, like no reason, couldn't figure out what caused it. And then they went back and reviewed the footage like later, and then they hear other alarms going off in the footage that they didn't hear
Here in real. Oh
in person.
God.
Yes.
Oh.
There's like other like beeping and things that they were like, what is that? That's not the alarm that we heard.
Oh.
And there's no explanation for what that was either. And so brings me to my final haunting, which
Bleh.
is my favorite out of
Okay,
the
goody.
bunch.
Oh, goody.
It's my favorite.
These are all
So
awful. I love it.
I know, right? It's like, and the photos, some of these photos are like, what? Like,
Oh.
because there's one of this one. There is
Okay.
like, I mean, it's clear as fucking day. In 2015, the museum was, they were in the middle of setting up an exposition that was like, exhibition, not exposition, exhibition called Monet to Matisse.
Okay.
And when they're doing these exhibitions and they're setting them up, like they close down certain parts
Right.
so they
Right.
can hang all this junk so people aren't just like walking around with
Right. Right. Right.
artwork just laning up against
Yeah.
walls,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So these areas were shut down, but this employee took this photo, and it's like he's down below and looking forward, and then there's like the second level, and there is a man standing up on the second level, like looking down over everything, and it looks exactly like Claude Monet. Beard, hat, clothes, all of it.
Whoa.
Like
Whoa.
he's observing them setting up this exhibition for his stuff, and
Oh my God.
they went up there and there was nobody up there. There was
That's
no man up there.
you have to be like,
And
I hope he approves.
it does look very like, you're like, "Oh my god." You're like, "Look at this photo," and you're like, and they've like, it's not been photoshopped. They've looked and had it like,
Right.
like, "Here, have it. We didn't photoshop this.
Mm-hmm.
It was, But anyway, he looks like the hat, the beard, the clothes. I mean, it looks like Claude Monet is standing above on this second level, like looking down as they're like working.
So you're telling me he travels with his exhibit because that's
Apparently,
terrifying, but
apparently,
also cool, but mostly
but also, I
terrifying.
mean, but you're like connected to your work.
Yeah.
I get it.
You're
Like if you
apparently you're
put your
painting your
heart,
soul in it, man.
I know you put your heart and soul into something. I mean, I would imagine that you've got some kind of connection with it. But anyway,
Ugh.
that photo like blew my mind. I was like, this is
Oh
wild.
crap. Holy
But
crap.
anyway, I've thoroughly freaked myself out, and
Yep.
that is the story of the Cleveland Museum of Art
And
and
I
how it
am
is haunted.
freaked out myself. Oh god.
I
Like I
know.
keep going like, is there something
I
behind
know.
me?
It's like I'm sitting here writing this stuff down and noises are
They're
happening
happening. You're like,
outside, and I'm like, I have got to hurry up and we've got to get this going so I can talk about it and then go focus on something else.
oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely read some smut or something tonight.
I
Lord,
know, right? You're just like, oh
terrified.
God, oh God. Yeah, I know. So anyway, that is the Cleveland Museum of Art and how it's like one of the most haunted museums in America. And now I'm like, we need to go. I don't
We
care.
have to go. I mean, I never knew I needed to go to Cleveland until now, but I need to go to
Right.
Cleveland.
Because
Holy
apparently there
hell.
are several things in Cleveland we need to go check out.
Good
So
golly. That was amazing. Like, I
I'm
was
just
not
like,
ready for any of that.
I
I
know.
mean, you started strong and it kept getting more and more.
Well, the first one I found was the Monet one. And then I
Ah,
keep looking and I was like, there's more. There's others. This is not the only one. Oh, well.
it's like
Like
that
they're
one
just
would have
kept, yeah,
been
I know.
sufficient, but now I have
But the
creepy boy
one,
running around. Whoa.
because the one with the girl, the news reporter,
Mm-hmm.
that was like, because she was like doing the news report, and then she's like, I had my own experience, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's
What?
like I gotta tell
Oh,
me more. Tell me more.
I know. So I have to snag a screenshot of that photo that she
Please,
threw
got
up on
to
her
see
video
it.
because it was like, I paused it and I'm like, how is that mouth open in that reflection? It's a fucking stone head. And then I'm like, it's because you keep stealing shit that doesn't belong to you.
Right? Oh God.
Bah! Anyway, like, I love museums. I do because it gives you a chance to go and view something that otherwise you probably
Wouldn't
wouldn't ever get to see
right.
as far as, like, somebody else's culture, but I just hate how it got to that point.
Well, I feel like most in this day and age, most countries would probably allow things on like permanent loan, but like it's still
Right.
theirs. So
Yes.
like, or because to me the traveling exhibits are the things that are the most amazing because that's stuff that it shouldn't be in just one place. It should get to
Right.
go and be like I get some things can't travel. Fine. Mona Lisa, you stay right there in the Louvre because like you can't
Right.
unless you're that guy on the glass onion. But
Right. Elon Musk wannabe.
right. So man, that's amazing. That's amazing, and it's gonna stay with me forever.
I know.
God,
Oh, I did it. Like I was like watching that video and I'm like, I am legit getting goosebumps watching
right?
this. This
Like
is
I'm.
crazy.
This is to just prove how big of a chicken that I am. I'm listening to Claire tell me a story that like it's like third, fourth hand by the time it actually is getting to me.
Right.
And like I've got like chill like I've got goosebumps all over and I'm like noticing how the cat right behind me has like very
Right.
glowing eyes and mouth. I've never fucking noticed that before, but it's freaking me out right now.
And then you're like,
And I'm
do I have to
like,
see its tail swish? Am
oh
I
yeah.
like losing
Well,
my mind?
and like my camera, sometimes if I move too much, it tries to refocus, so it gets blurry and it scares me now because I'm like, oh,
Oh yeah.
something behind me. Ha! So,
Right. But anyway, that is the story of the Cleveland Museum of Art.
amazing! It was
And
amazing,
I'm just like,
amazing.
I need to go. We need to go.
We're going. We're going. I'm moving back east so that way we can go on all of these terrifying jaunts where all we do is run out of buildings and scream.
Right.
It'll
I
be our new
also,
TikTok of
I
us
don't
just
know if
running
you
out and
bought it.
screaming.
I bought and that's why we drink Road Atlas. We can just go do that.
That's true. That's true. We can play that game. I actually didn't buy it because the library bought it.
Ah, okay. So
I
you're
just was
like,
like,
all right.
but I was like, I might buy it one day, but right now the library has it, so
Right. You're like, oh,
cool.
well, I'll just check this out.
I mean, let me rephrase it. I put it on the list so that the library would buy it, but
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
just like I
You're
put
like,
the Butcher and the Wren by is it Elena? I think it's Elena from Morbid. She wrote like it's a fiction
oh, okay. Yes. Uh
and it's
huh.
really good. It's really good. Highly recommend. But I guess that means it is time for tarot time with April. No more spooky spookies.
April's like,
I'm a spooky
absolutely.
spooked.
She's like, I'm all spookied out.
I have been spooked out. Tell me when to stop. I'm afraid to sing a song at this point because I'm afraid it's going to call the ghosties to come to me. Um, also, I'm now paranoid that so I have a little um, porcelain rabbit that was my grandmother's that I have loved, and that was the thing that I chose to like keep after she died
Nice.
because
Yes.
I just have a specific memory of playing with it. I don't know. Everyone thought I was insane. I was like, but who cares? But so now I'm afraid that she's like haunting it, and I'm scared
She's haunting it.
because she would not approve of my current lifestyle.
Stop.
Just saying, she
Oh, you're
is a
speaking of songs.
conservative Baptist
Right.
woman.
No, no. Speaking of songs,
Uh huh.
over Christmas, I don't know what's popped in my head. We were having taco night because
Taco night.
yeah, the kids like tacos.
Who doesn't?
And
Who doesn't love a taco?
and so mom had, hard shell, soft shell,
Same. Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. And so the kids load up their junk. And I don't even know what they were talking about, but I heard um one of them said something about 3 hard tacos and then 2 soft shelled tacos, and then Elliot goes, "And a partridge in a pear tree." And I mean, I was in the kitchen with mom and Walt, and all 3 of us just start busting out laughing because she did it, like, so high pitched, and we
Mm-hmm.
were just like, because she did, I mean, like, did
That's
not miss a
nice.
beat, that kid, I swear. I was like, "That kid, man." We were just I remember mom and I just, looked at each other like, "Oh god." We just started cracking up. I was like, "Wow."
Hmm. All right. Are we ready for
Yes.
it?
Do it. No swords.
We're starting our
No
week
swords.
with the Eight of Coins / Pentacles.
Eight of-
He looks very studious. He's reading a book. He's got several books. And he has a nice candle. It looks fine. This looks fine. This looks fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, I'm all about reading these days, so
Okay.
I'm
Next we
back into the
have
reading.
the Ten of Coins / Pentacles, and this looks pretty good too because it looks like someone is praying, but they are being coronated. They're getting the crown put upon their head. So that looks good.
Okay.
That looks good. This is promising.
Okay.
And we're
Noted.
ending
Noted.
with the Queen of Swords.
Damn it! So close.
But I will tell you, she actually looks kind of like a badass bitch. Like she's got her
Okay.
fucking
So maybe
shit together. I'm just telling
maybe
you.
it won't be so. Have we ever had the Queen of Swords?
I don't think so, but she's got her shit together. I'm just telling you.
I hope so.
She's like, I got
Let's
my
hope so.
sword in my hand.
Let's hope so.
She's got her sword in her hand. She's like, I got this shit, okay?
She's like, I will shank a bitch.
She's exactly like I will shank a bitch. Just so that you know. I mean, I feel like this is gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Noted.
I mean,
okay.
it may not be okay, but
it looks like so far it looks like it might be.
It looks like it might be okay. So here we go. Here we go. The Eight of Pentacles. Why can't I never find it? There it is. The Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles comes up a lot in readings for people who have found a new job or started college or a training program. Because there's reading. He's reading and learning things.
Yes.
Isn't that great? It's about finally finding your path and working your tail off to succeed at it. That's true. I feel that. He's reading his books. He's doing a good job. He's got lots of books.
He's very studious.
That's right. This card is about being discerning about your own work and not giving up until you get it right. So I'm here for that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm pro all
that
of
sounds
those
good.
things.
Yes.
I like working hard at a thing that I care about. Being all studious. Also, I like reading. It's nice. Okay. The Ten of Pentacles. This is about sharing your wealth. Cool. But this isn't the charity card, so it's fine.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's about inheritance, financial stability, and charity. So it sounds like we're gonna get some money again. Woohoo!
That's always a good thing.
Let's see. Skipping through, it's blah blah blah. Let's see. Oh, this is about being among people without basing your emotional health or well-being on them. All I'm seeing in my card, because again, I have decided that my cards are not necessarily the same as the cards in this book. Because in my card, I see a guy getting ready to be kinged. So he's about to be given, like, the power and the financial stability, because when you're king, you get all the money. So, like, I'm going with it. I'm going with the financial stability part. It sounds good.
Noted.
Okay. Here's what it all comes down to, Claire.
Yes.
The Queen of Swords.
I know. Here we go.
She just doesn't give a damn about your motivations or what happens to you because of your actions. She's a big picture kind of gal, and she cuts away all of the emotion and feeling to get to the point. She's incredibly smart, like freaky Mensa level smart. Nice. I told her. I'm telling you, she's like, I got shit. I'll shank you, you know.
Yeah. It's like, I will shank a bit.
She is stern, fair, and has a very sharp tongue. Fair. She can be intimidating, but once she's on your side, it's as if you have an army behind you. She is strong, independent, and forthright. A complete badass. Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah. I'm pro Queen of Swords. We finally found a sword card we like.
I know, right?
Good job, swords. We're like, yeah, badass bitch.
Right.
So, looks like a pretty good week ahead.
Nice.
I'm here for that. I like to read and be studious and work hard, and I like to be given my financial stability reward with some power, perhaps.
Right.
I've always wanted to be a benevolent dictator. What can I say? And then we're going to end our week with a bunch of badass bitchery. Like, we got our shit together. We're confident. We're strong. We got this.
Gonna cut the emotion out of it.
That's right. Fuck that shit.
I know, right?
All right, Claire. It is time. What is going to be our topic next week? What's going to be on our wheel
Wheel
of
of
fate? I enjoy this little
I know, right?
thingy for me. Like, I love my animation for this of the wheel spinning. It just makes me stupid happy. I don't know why. What's gonna be? It's gonna be.
Much to my chagrin,
Oh
and
dear.
probably your not chagrin.
My not chagrin? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Philosophy slash philosophers
Ooh.
from Ellen.
Yay,
From
Ellen.
Ellen.
Ah, man, I'm finally gonna use that philosophy degree I have. It's about damn time. It's gonna be great. You're gonna
Ugh.
love it. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing. We're gonna
Am
have a grand
I?
old time because there's so many people who fall into the category of philosopher slash philosophy. They don't have to be the ancient Greeks. There's so
Well,
many
yeah, I know
more.
that.
So it'll be fun.
It'll be fantastic, I'm
It
sure.
will be. So join us next week as I happily discuss philosophy and Claire bangs her head into a wall.
I mean, that's fair.
But until then, you can find us in all the things and on all the places at.
Brunch and Judge.
And please send us topics for our wheel. Any stories you have, especially, have you been to the Cleveland Art Museum? Do you know
Right?
spooky ghosty things? Have you seen the creepy ass boy? Because, like, for some reason, little boy ghosts, children ghosts scare me the most because I think they're probably demons.
Right. You're just like, this is no, no,
But to
no,
be
no.
fair, living, breathing human children also scare me, so maybe it's not really.
I
I
mean,
think they
that's
may
true.
also be demons. Today, a little girl, I went to pick up tacos actually at a Mexican restaurant, and a little girl was there. I think her mom must have been working, and she came like held my hand and looked at my ring and took my car keys, and I'm like,
You're like, what is
"Hi,
happening right now?
hi."
Yikes.
Came home and washed my hands really hard. It's fine.
I know, you're like, I need all the hand sanitizer.
But yeah, so you can send story topics and ideas and things for our will too.
Brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
So until next time, keep on brunching.
And keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.